What's going on with the Great Resignation? Let's talk about that today.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Let's go.
Hey yo, welcome to the MoneyBru Show from Daniël-James Media. I'm a ginger from South Africa and I immigrated about 7 years ago. I am living in the States, Colorado, like beautiful Colorado as you guys know it. Well, I do have a soul.
Because ginger kids have no souls. What?
I may not feel like my brain's right there right now because what's going on with the Great Resignation? Let's talk about that today. Like, how insane is all the news articles that are coming out and everything that's just been following me, and I'm like, I have to talk about this. I have to share this with you guys, share some love, get some growth out of it, right? So like, let's jump into what I've been seeing. Like, I opened up MoneyBru, which is like news, right? And I'm just reading through, and then all of a sudden, boom, keep your people happy, right? I think a month ago I saw this and I was like, nah, whatever. But it's become a real big thing. Like, if you look at the search for hiring job and quit, look at this. Like, in the last few days, this thing has spiked, like skyrocketed, and there's a lot of funny things that are happening in there.
You're fired. You can't fire me. I quit. You can't quit. I quit. You can't quit. You're a frog. You can't frog me. You're my wife. I'm not your wife. You're my wife. Oh, hey, honey, how was work? Pretty good, but I quit my job. You can't quit your job. You're fired.
And there's a lot of funny things that are happening in there that I want to talk about. I also want to talk about solutions and like things that you can think about during this season. If you're a boss, if you're an employee, if you're a marketing manager or a hiring person, like there's some things that you're going to have to think about, things that are going to like blow your mind and have to make sense. Otherwise, it's going to just be like firing, people quitting, and all this stuff. Like, what are we looking at? Like, what is this? So I'm going to bring what I've seen to the table. But look at this, like, quit my job last night, nice to be home and make kids with the breakfast, you know, go off hunt for a new opportunity, wish me luck, boss, good evening, you know, notice that you were sitting on a stool for the majority of your shift. This is completely unacceptable. And like, you know, people just taking hilarious screenshots of like them saying stuff like, so just like people feeling abused, right? So like, what is the culmination of all this? How did this all happen? And there's a lot of funny ones too. I'm trying to keep this PG, but you know, the reason a lot of this happened, and if you look at more of the trends and like why people are freaking out, right, is because, like, in all honesty, it was a buildup of things, right? Coronavirus, stimulus, you know, supply chain issues causing a lot of pressure on like different industries. It's pretty insane. I mean, look at this from Netflix. People are just walking out over Dave Chappelle's special, right? Or they're like walking out and just like protesting it like crazy. You don't want to be the poster child of this movement. So like, once again, yes, everyone, thank you so much for commenting on these videos, liking, sharing, subscribing. It helps so much. It helps me not go into a great resignation. Very cheesy, but hey, the point is this: you are helping the community through my content, and I'm helping you guys through my content as best I can, keeping it short and simple and sweet. Listen closely to what I have to say. And actually, one of my favorite people as an example on how not to fire someone is Michael Scott. So take a listen to this.
Okay, everybody, shh, listen up. Earlier today, Stanley sassed me, and Toby gave me some suggestions on how to discipline him. They did not work, obviously, because they were stupid. So I am now going to fake fire him.
What does that mean?
It's like a mock execution. That's not good.
Name an animal with 3 letters in its name.
Alligator.
Bruh.
So anyway, Michael Scott is like the worst example of like firing and things like that. There's also this thing called the general strike looming, right? Like, news articles are talking about it, and I don't say this stuff because I'm not like news related, but I am strategy focused. Like, how can you strategize, use this information to leverage your brand, or, you know, leverage your website and help people get a good job, if you're a small business, now is like the perfect time, like it's the ultimate time to hire and grow. So let's look at it from like the employee's perspective, right? Like, what is the Great Resignation? And what I've been seeing is, you know, the whole thing that I told you about. And right now, Microsoft did a survey and 40% of the global workforce are considering leaving their jobs this year. Like, there's a Trevor Noah special on it too, South African. In terms of global news, it's kind of happening everywhere. Now, don't get this confused for the Great Recession, obviously, duh. Like, all of us know this. But 2008, there was a housing recession. That's different, right? Like,
this could be the most serious recession in decades. And that means life, as most Americans know it, is about to change, in some cases dramatically.
Traders say this is the craziest day they have ever seen.
This market is as volatile as you'll ever see.
They just couldn't afford their homes and they were going into foreclosure and they didn't have enough income. Right now, people have options, they have choices. And I think this was supposed to happen one time or another because a lot of people's incomes don't meet their expenses and it's just kind of out of whack. The whole thing is out of whack right now. We have inflation, like that's also added on top of that. So, you know, how do we dissect that? What's also different about this situation is it's kind of needed in some ways where, you know, like there's this great imbalance. People have always needed a boost like this, but you can also not be like terrible, right? So like some of these on the Business Insider, texts to their bosses have been pretty intense. We're not bartenders over this place now. I think I'll just go work at one of the dozens of places hiring around here. I'm fed up with you. Give me a call. Don't make such an impulsive decision. This guy's okay, so I'm not gonna read all of them because it's just pretty bad. This one's pretty funny. We don't need to rush you leaving. Let's talk in the morning. We can. No thanks. Have a good life. It's pretty intense. But my mind has shifted. I mean, this is not about me, it's more about you, but I became a citizen like a few weeks ago. And what's really crazy to me is knowing the opportunity that like lies here and how hard you have to work to fight for that and know your worth, right? So as an employee, you know your worth and like find that place that's going to embrace you, you know, ultimately. Let's move on to some other stuff. Yes, like where I'm from, it's very interesting dynamic. I don't see it happening as much here. Yes, I live in Greeley. If you've ever watched that South Park episode, they say it's the exact opposite of Hawaii. We have JBS, a big food plant, lots of hardworking like people who work in agriculture, industrial industries. And so I haven't seen the mass effect of the Great like resignation, right? For 2022 and 2021 or whenever the year is, I feel like there's enough opportunity in like different towns and places where it makes sense. Okay, so I'm sticking to my promise. Yes, that $50 giveaway, dollars, however you want to call it, however you want to spin it. Come on, let's go. I got all the names. Okay, so this is the channel. This was the video. Thanks again for all the comments. You guys are so freaking cool and generous. Peter, like everyone is in there. I put you guys in a name generator, so let's go. Spin this thing. Who is the winner? Oh yes, I used to be a dancer. Much love to you guys. Pretty cheesy. So, yeah, Dimitri in Chicago. I know his channel. Super freaking cool channel. He has a lot of cool things going. You guys should check him out. That $50 is coming your way. Feed the family, do what you gotta do, buy some Amazon stuff. I mean, look at this channel, it's pretty dope. Like he does commercials if you need commercials done. He is the man for you in Chicago if you need that. What I've been noticing, so some tips here with hiring, is we have quite a diverse team that's multicultural, that are like kind of from everywhere. It's just expanded on itself in that sense that what I've learned about contractual hiring, it's more flexible for people anyway, so it works out really well as a small business to do that or as a company. We obviously use multiple places to hire people. Yes, it must feel great to just like quit your job right out of the blue, but then yes, is the hiring person being terrible and are you being terrible? So, you know, don't just get up and like quit. Like first find out what's important to you as you move through your process. This has become huge on Reddit, and like I found this article funny. How to quit Reddit. So, you know, maybe you need to quit Reddit, maybe you need to quit reading all this stuff on social media. Another thing you could do to diversify is you could just invest in cryptocurrency. while all this craziness is going on, because it is booming right now. So what does that tell me? It tells me that people are at home or bored, and there's like an expiration period to this, right? But there's gonna be people hiring, for example, and the hiring positions they're gonna pick their best lot, and they're lucky because the best lot's gonna shift around and come back in. I know that a lot of service-based industries are suffering, right, with this kind of stuff. And I find it funny that Uncle Elon is always on the Bitcoin memes. He's South African, but like I said, doesn't really like, you can't even hear it in his voice. He's pretty much fully American, which is interesting. We're wrapping up the end of this video, and before I get into the solution, there's a few things I want to mention too. Like, I ran an experiment with hiring for like 3 different positions within my company, more part-time, and I learned a lot. I think there's a lot of things to be said about getting on multiple platforms, which is obvious for both the employee and the employer. Secondly, also having different variations of your job to see like how people interact in each variation, and think outside the box. Like, you may have hybrid people that are going to grow into one space and then move into another space. That's happened with me so many times, where like on any given month I'm working with 13 different contractors, right, or employee type people, and it's shifting all the time. One's doing, you know, something specific, and then another month they want to do something more and grow and explore. And I think companies miss that. Like, your employees want to explore and grow. I'm going to mention some other great solutions, but before I do, this is a self promotion, shameless plug, but we have a cool promotion running from now till end of October, and pretty much it is a super cool spin and win that is 500 credits to your next big business or design idea or marketing idea. It is totally free. Just submit your email and you're set. I also give some value in this video. Like, I mentioned a bunch of like business tactics. As you can see, the 11 years of multimedia secrets. Now, the final and most important tip here that I'm going to have for you guys, and we can close it off. This book changed the game for me when it came to understanding employees and hiring. It is called Profit First. There's my giving assistant popping up. I'll drop the link in the description. If you have a profit first model, what that means is your company is going to profit no matter what, because you've set up your business that way and you've prioritized profit. Like, we're lucky enough that we have a debt-free business. You know, like, you're still going to have debt in your life depending on what you do and leverage and how you play the game. But my business has been debt-free. Now, I think a lot of companies during COVID used capital to either get debt-free, or, you know, like hire more employees to meet the thresholds. But if you look at this model, it allows your employees to be bought in. It's very rare that an employee would drop out if they have skin in the game. I think that's what a lot of companies are missing, is skin in the game. Same for the companies. You guys need to add skin in the game. You need to make it worth it. The effort should not be so far outweighed. And I think these are the companies that are going to succeed, is the ones who understand the value even in the minor roles. Secondly, another book you can read is Get Different. It just came out, super interesting book. Just have to listen on Audible. Well, there you guys have it. That is the episode. Thank you so much for watching this. I just appreciate you guys, wherever you're at, global citizens, world people, for this delicious content. Like, I get to bring it to you, and I think it's so great to be alive with that in mind. Like, if I can make this really engaging, really good for you, then you can come back and enjoy it. And that way I don't have to just, okay, I quit, Great Resignation for me. I feel like I have to over explain it. And it's just like, done. Cheers. Yes, you guys, bye. So I told you, used to be a dancer. It's kind of embarrassing. You can check the channel. It's Buck DC somewhere on this channel. Adios.